Hello and welcome back to Scalemodeling. This is the 1700 build of scale build of the German warship Scharnhost, made by FlyHawk. And in this part 7, we'll look at some aircraft I've finished and painted up. Look at them. They've been clear coated, ready for decals to go on. I built both of them. I only need one on the actual ship. But anyway, little float planes looking good. Nice colour scheme. I've also done a couple of the flags. You may have seen this in my previous videos. I use the decals. I stick them down on aluminium foil. Let them dry properly, and then I'll cut them out, and the foil as a backing allows you to mold the flag and shape it into the position you want to look like it's sort of blowing in the wind. A bit more realistic than just the shape of the decal itself. Quite easy to do, and it's just definitely looks a lot better. What else I've got is the ship itself, which I'll bring over. Hang on a second, I'll just grab it. Okay, so this is all being clear coated now. Yesterday I clear coated it and it's ready for some weathering. I'm doing that today, as well as putting those flags on them and hopefully getting some rigging done as well. Not too much weathering to do as there's no hull, so that'll save a bit of the work, but there'll be a little bit of rust and streaking and so forth along the ship there. The deck being painted as I did and stained, it doesn't need anything else done, but just little bits and pieces. I'm also aware of how small a size this is too, so you know, people aren't naturally born with magnifying glasses, so they're not going to look too closely, but there'll be enough detail to stand out and just make it look like it's, you know, the real thing as much as possible. I mean, that's what we all try to do. I've also got the diorama glass undercoated. I've just done that literally 5 minutes ago. I'll let that dry, and then I'm going to put a base coat. We just put this down. It's at a point now where it's full. I felt, oh, there we go. So I've already taken the mast off the front. So yeah. I knew that would happen, but anyway, I'll put that back on. That's not a problem. Actually, that's something I could have left to the very, very end, even after it was already placed in the diorama. They're usually the first things you knock off a ship, along with the rudder. Obviously, I don't have to worry about that. Okay, 1 second while I just pick up my little mask and put it where I'm not going to lose it. Okay, so for the ocean, I'm going to use the paints I've got, which means I won't be using the AK ones because I need blue. So what I have is some SMS paints here. Now, I'm not sure which to use yet. There's a dark ocean blue and there's a dark sea blue. These are acrylic lacquers. You spray these straight out of the bottle. And I'm sort of thinking of going with the lighter one as the base color, because I can always darken it, and the idea will be to darken it after I create the waves into the hollow areas. I'll do like a darker wash over the whole thing, but anyway, we'll get into that. But yeah, I'll do a quick test spray of the two of these and see which one's the one I'm going to use, and then of course there'll be a clear coat, a gloss clear coat to go over the top of the whole thing. But That will probably be tomorrow or late this afternoon, giving this paint a good chance to dry. The primer literally takes an hour and it's fine. It's only a very thin layer and it's something just for the paint to grip on the glass. This will take a little bit longer, and then of course the clear coat will go over the top. Also with the ship, I've still got to do the railings. So as you can see from this, so we've got railings to go all the way around the outside, and what I'm going to do with that is, because it's so small, there's the sprue, is I'll paint these. So I'll undercoat that on there. I won't take them off, I'll undercoat them on there, and then I'll put my base coat of the grey over the top, let that dry, and then put a second base coat. Always like to make sure the railings have a nice thick cover of paint, because they're handled quite a bit when you're fiddling around. None of these will need to be bent very much, as they're just around the outside of the ship. So that'll be all right, but there may be, I'll have to check, a few railings on some of the balconies or other areas that will need to be put on. Depending on that, I'll see if I have to paint them before or after I've already bent them. And yeah, so I'll get on with this, then we'll have a look at the progress as I go. I'm back shortly. Okay, welcome back. I've got some of the weathering in progress. Basically, I'm not doing too much, mainly due to the scale and the size of it. You know, from a normal viewpoint of about a couple of feet away, you're not going to see too much detail. But I am breaking out the Tamiya Weathering Master kit, where I've got some of the rust colour, put very little bits around the edge of the deck where more water might gather, and run off the side of the deck. And to complement that, I have the Mr. Weathering colour, which is this rust orange. This is really, really good. It's very liquidy, so what I do is I mix this with some of this, so I get a pasty sort of thing. So when you apply it with a tiny small brush, you'll get what effectively looks like actual rust. So at this scale, not so important, but 350 scale and especially 700 scale, to look at rust and you see not just the color of rust, but the actual decay of the rust. This is great stuff mixed with that. So anyway, I've done the anchor, where the anchor is here. If you can see the bit of a rust mark as it runs down. I'll throw a picture up as well, so we see it better. But, so yeah, I've done a little bit of darken the anchor chain a little bit. I've used a panel wash, normal Tamiya panel line colour, but I'm just little spots around just to highlight some of the guns and some of the rivet detail, and on some of these things, particularly on the cranes as well, just to make them stand out a little bit. I used it around smokestack there just to darken it a bit. I was going to use some of the black soot on here. Still might, but I don't know if it's really necessary. As you can see, I've got the float plane on there. It's mounted on there, nice. I will weather that up a little bit, but not too much. Yeah, it's the submarine. Well, torpedo launchers on the side there, weathered up nicely too. There's bits of rust marks around them. But basically on the side here, we've got bits of, I'll show you this way. See little marks where the rust runs down the side of the ship. no hull to worry about, so I don't need to be concerned about doing salt markings on that. You don't usually get any salt markings on this part of the side of the ship because it's always got movement and getting washed by the waves. Yeah, it's coming on nicely. I'm just gonna just keep touching little bits and pieces around and just build it up until I'm happy with it. And I've also done the flags, so the flags are pretty much ready to go on soon. I'll put those on. They don't require rigging. One goes at the top of the mast here, one go at the front or the back. I'm not too sure. There's instructions they give you a whole heap of flags, but it's only showing one position for one of them. Then I'm going to get on to the rigging. Little bits of rigging and stuff and all got to go through here. That's going to be really tight and fiddly. Obviously, I'm not going to be trying to be accurate because when you look at the actual photo of this ship, it had rigging like spider webs everywhere. There's no way I'm going to be attempting to do that, but I'll get the basics going up and around and across the ship as it would make it look quite good. Now the diorama, I've undercoated a white undercoat on the glass, and then I've done a blue. I've done a dark ocean blue color, and it's drying, being painted about an hour and a half ago. I will go get that now and we'll have a quick look, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so let's have a look. This is it painted. Now the camera's not going to show the color too good, I'm sure, but as you can see, that's all done. I'm sort of happy with it. I'm not too it's going to look patchy and that, but that's not a problem. It'll all be fine later on. I do have another lighter blue I might put through, but this has to be clear coated too with a gloss clear, so that's going to make it look quite good too. So, and mind you, this is going to get covered in silicone as well, so this is just like a background to what the water's going to look like. So, you know, these things, progress as it builds up. I've never done one before, so hey, if it works, it works. Doesn't, it doesn't. But I think it'll be all right. Okay, well, I'm going to keep on going, and I'll get started on this rigging now, and we'll come back and have a look how that's going. Okay, back shortly. Cheers. Okay, welcome back, and got a fair bit done now. I've done the rigging, well, as much as I'm confident enough to do. I don't know how clearly you can see there's rigging along there. There were some areas here where there really should be some rigging coming down off these pieces, but there's nothing much supporting them, and just having the rigging on there, I found one of them had just pulled off. It just dropped off, so I don't want to put any pressure on those, so I'm going to skip that. But I've done this here. I've done a line across here. There's one down to here. I'm happy with that. That's all that really matters. I've got the flags on there. Flag up the top of the mast here. We've got one down the end of the ship there. So they're mounted on. All good. And I've also done all the railings. So all the railings around the outside of the ship are all completed now. See how clear that is there. So it's basically done. The weathering's done. Yeah, that's it. Now it's a matter of working on the diorama, I guess. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to work on today. The blue I showed you before that I've painted the glass. I don't know if it's blue enough. I'm not 100% on the color, because the thing is, the next step is literally to glue this down onto that glass top, and once it's glued down, it's not coming off. So yeah, and the other thing I found out too was I checked this yesterday. I'll just move this out of the way. I checked my silicon, which I'm going to be using, and it's clear silicon, so it comes out clear. It's not like white silicon and dries clear. This already is clear. I just cut it off to have a look and check. And as far as I'm aware, when I was at, in Australia here, we have Bunnings, which is the biggest hardware store in the country. And there's literally hundreds of types of silicon, and all of them, I asked one of the sales assistant, all of them come out clear as well as dry clear. There's none that actually are white that I've seen in YouTube videos people using. I'm sure there must be somewhere, but anyway, point is, it's I'll be able to use this. It'd just be different getting the wave formations when it's already clear. I guess I'm going to be looking at more of the finished dried product while I'm working on it, rather than having to wait 24 hours for it to dry and go clear. Anyway, whatever. I mean, maybe I will put down a bit of a test area and just see first. But as for the color of the blue paint, I'm pretty happy with that, I think. I'm going to the hobby shop today to pick up some paints for my next project, and while I'm there I will be checking out some blues, because either way I'll need to do a lighter blue wash anyway to give the depth and the 3D look of the diorama a little bit more. Yeah, so pretty much that's generally what I want it to look a bit like, is something like that, really. Maybe not so much white water, but yeah, that's the idea. And even there, some of the ocean there is quite dark, but there is that lighter blue in it, and that's what I'm going to need. Of course, I've got the white to do dry brushing for the wave tops and stuff, so that's no problem. So yeah, sticking it down is a permanent thing, and then once it's stuck down on that glass plate, well, that's it. Anyway, it's all fun. So we'll come back and we'll have a look at some of the process of getting this diorama built. Okay, back shortly. So welcome back. As you can see, there's the model on the frame. I put the glass plate back in the frame there. The model is now glued in, so that ain't coming off. Super glued on there now. So now it's just a matter of getting the sealant. That's the one I'm using, and just covering the whole base in sealant, and smoothing it out, or spreading it out, covering the whole area right up to the edge of the ship, and then using a spoon. So I've seen in other videos of this, just going along and touching it up like this, which creates a ripple effect of waves. So yeah, I'm going to test it on a bit of plastic first. So I'm just going to do a test bit on top of the plastic container, just to see how easily it can be moved and manipulated before I actually try it on here. and then we'll see how we go. So cross your fingers and we'll give it a shot. Back shortly. Hey, welcome back. And as you can see, I've got this going okay here. Just going to put a little bit more in. And put a good layer of it around. Just got to be careful. Spread it out. I tend to be rushing, but not realizing that I don't need to rush because this is going to take a long time to dry. 24 hours or so. So I need to put that on, particularly right up to the edges of the ship. I've noticed some of my rigging's come off. I must have bumped a bit. It's okay, I can fix that later on. Just trying to be sure that every little edge is right up covered. That's it. Okay. So that's pretty much got the whole thing covered. Well, this stuff is extremely sticky. Notice if I get on my fingers. Okay, so I think we've got enough down now. What I need to do now is get a spoon, and now we have to make some waves. This will dry completely clear. Hopefully that's the plan anyway. But you can see how the waves are forming. When I do this. It's going to be a sort of a streaking area from the rear of the ship. Usually this is done with a white silicone that dries clear. This is obviously a clear silicone that's, I guess, gonna dry. I hope it dries clear. Clearer than this anyway. Just particularly along the edge of the ship there. So the idea apparently is you can come back and do another layer after it's dried. particularly up around the bow. Make sure that's right in. All right. Concerned about that rigging. I don't know where that's fallen off from. Looks like it was the one across the front, so it's okay, I can fix that. I think that's about best that's going to go. All right. I'm thinking that's looking pretty good as it is. I think that's looking pretty good. Just make sure this is all clear off there. You know, these things, you don't give it a go, you'll never know. So, there we go. I think that's looking pretty good. What do you reckon? I'm hoping it dries clearer than that, because I don't want so much white water around it, although, because I can just dry brush the wave caps. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. So, all right, well, I'm going to put this aside now. I'll just put my float plane back on that I accidentally knocked off. I'll put that rigging line, connect that back up. And then this has to be put aside overnight to dry. I've heard it dries better if a very spot where there's a lot of air circulation. So I'll put it outside and let that happen. All right, let's come back when this is done, I suppose. Yeah, okay, back, well, shortly for you, but for me it'll be tomorrow. Okay, hang in there. Welcome back, and so far I've had this put away overnight. It's probably been not quite 24 hours, but probably about 20 hours, and I'd say it's as set as it's going to get. Really happy with the result. As you can see, it looks pretty amazing. The ocean there looks quite churned up, if not maybe too much, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a blue, watered down blue wash, and I'll go over and just fill in some of the areas in there so there's not so much white, particularly in the distance away from the ship. And I'll just sort of control the blue and lighten it up a little bit, or darken the white anyway, in the distance away from the ship, so it looks just a bit more, you know, the white tops of the waves like that are just more effect around the ship rather than over the whole diorama. I mean, if the ocean was that rough, it probably would be like that. But yeah, but my problem is I've run out of blue paint. So yeah, that's all I can do. I fixed the rigging lines that I broke, and the plane that's popped off, I'll fit that back on, and that'll be fine. But I'm really happy with the way this is turned out. You know, look at that, it's really good. I was worried about the color, but I'm really happy with the color. I think it's turned out really good. And yeah, that's it. So I'll end the video here because it'll be a couple of days before I can get some blue paint. So what I'll do is the final video, which will be the next one, will be the completed model, and I'll get some close up, some nice photos we'll put up on there. I'll get some camera angles down and we'll have a look at it, and that'll be the completed one. But stay tuned for that. All right, so again, comment below, give me your opinions down below, let me know what you think. If you've got any questions or suggestions, put them in the comments. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe if you haven't. Click that notifications bell to get notified of more as they come out. And yeah, I'll see you in the final last part 8 it'll be of this build of the Scharnhost. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you then. Bye for now.